Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another episode of IPL Titbits with Gully Cricket. So, Shash, we have a lot to talk, and that's why
Yeah.
we got our expert here. So, let's welcome Gautam. Hey, Gautam, hi.
Hi,
Hi
Gautam.
Manas, hi Shash.
Yeah.
Hi, hi.
So, yeah, like we saw a lot happened yesterday. It was a close thriller. So, let's get started. Now, Mumbai started off well, and we saw top knocks from Rohit and Kishan getting around 63 in the power play. But Shash, hasn't it all come a little too late? Or are you happy that since they'll be playing for India in some months?
Yeah, I mean, I have to take the positive side of it, right? Considering that, as you mentioned, that they'll be playing for India.
Mhm.
So whenever it comes, the sooner rather than later, the form of these two batsmen, I would welcome it with both hands. Because you know that at least one of them is going to be a certainty in the team. Because you're talking about the captain Rohit Sharma, so he is definitely not performed up to his level. All right, like I don't think has he got a 50 this season. I'm not sure if
No,
he's
I
got.
doubt.
No,
Yeah. So that's what. Considering Rohit Sharma standards, it's been quite an ordinary performance by him this season. But yeah, Ishan and Rohit, this is what they're capable of. Like if they
Mhm.
play to their potential, then they're able to get Mumbai off to a brisk start, and that is what they did yesterday. So in that regard, I would say this is welcome for both Mumbai as well as the Indian team. I think again they stuttered in the middle. You know, I mean Pollard's innings was like very strange. It's like 14 balls, he scored 4 runs. I've never seen him struggle so much. I think that sort of halted the momentum. But then again, coming to the death overs, Tim David gave them the impetus in the end, which actually managed to get them to a winning total. So yeah, that's about it.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, I don't get this Pollard's inning. Now, Gautam, Pollard has 5 dismissals against spin in 9 innings, and his average against spin is just 5. So, do you think it's a wise decision to leave out someone like Bravis and play Pollard in the middle when spin is in action?
yeah. So Pollard does struggle against spin, even against the match against RCB. He went out for Hasaranga and even Chahal also. But like all teams, keep their main bowler for Pollard, like any wrist spinner, and be it even off spin also. I think he has gone out to Ashwin also. He has gone out. So yeah. So but what Mumbai Indians strategy might be is, see, traditionally all successful teams, that is Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians, KKR, they've all backed their players. That is be it Pollard, Murli Vijay, in the finals, then Shane Watson, everybody they have backed. So I think in the same concept, they might back Pollard also over Brevis. But if you see, Brevis is naturally a good player of spin and a technically good player. But now since Mumbai Indians are out of the tournament, I think it is a good chance for them to like leave out Pollard and then try somebody like Brevis to see how they can perform on the big stage. So that might help them in the future games of the tournament or next tournaments for that matter.
Correct.
All right, well said. And that's not it. There are other players also. So, Shash, I don't understand that when Mumbai lack good bowling, they're not playing some good bowling talent that they have, like, Dhaval, Markande, or even Arjun Tendulkar. So, what do you think is the reason behind this?
Oh, I think they jumped the trigger a little too soon, is what I would say. After the first 2 or 3 games, they seemed to panic because things were not going their way. They were not winning games. So that's when Daniel Sams did have a few ordinary games, and Tim David as well. Both of these are like explosive players, for the respective sides. I think Tim David plays for Singapore, and I think he can be qualified to play for Australia soon. But saying that Daniel Sams is a very handy big bash player, whenever he plays there. Uh, I think they sort of, like felt that they've gone wrong with their team selection, but then they sort of restored their faith again. And you saw what Tim David did do yesterday. That is what he's capable of. If not for him, maybe Mumbai wouldn't have won the game. So, yeah, talking about the bowlers that you mentioned, maybe it's a case because they did go with Meredith, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
They don't seem to back the Indian talent that they have, which is surprisingly strange, because they are usually someone who backs the Indian talent to the hilt. But I somehow I'm not able to understand why either Dhaval or in fact even Arjun, considering that they don't hardly have any chance of qualifying now. Why don't they give them a hit and see how they perform? So that is probably something which Mumbai might think to do in the coming games.
All right. Just to give you a small correction, Mumbai still have a chance to qualify. It's very, very small, but since they won yesterday, it's increased little. So now let's move to the second inning. Now, Gautam, GT batted wonderfully, but Mumbai pulled things back at the end. So take us to the chase and talk about it.
Yes, so GT's openers took them off to a good start. Both Saha and Shubman Gill played really well, and Saha was the aggressor who even took Bumrah to the cleaners actually. So it was a well-deserved innings from Saha because from a long time he has been in and out of many teams. So it was a very good knock to see that he's middling the ball so well. But after I think they had around 100 run partnership somewhere, and then Murugan Ashwin came to ball, picked up both the openers, and after that Hadi came, and Hadi got run out. He didn't dive actually. If he had dived, probably he would have made it in. But from an Indian fan perspective, that good he didn't dive because probably he would have injured something, and there's a World Cup around the corner also. So yeah, and then the match was going on. Sai Sudarshan got a hit wicket. I think that's a first hit wicket, right? In some more like, and I think in from few of the
Definitely.
recent seasons, I think it's a first hit wicket. So yeah, but the strange thing is, if you see, Gujarat Titans have actually chased down bigger numbers. Like in the last over, I think they required something against 11 versus Lucknow, 18 versus Punjab, and again 13 versus CSK, and 7 against RCB also. They chased all of them successfully with Miller, Tewatia, and Rashid, like in those last overs. But yesterday, Daniel Sams proved his mettle. Actually, what people might not know is Daniel Sams is a tremendously good death bowler. Probably he has not performed to his best potential in Australia, but for Sydney Thunder, he has actually, like every match, he has picked up more, like at the death, he's picked bunch of wickets. And yesterday, they showed like why he's such a good death bowler. Those slower balls outside the off stump, they could
Correct.
not like even touch the ball over there. So a tremendous over from Sams, and even the like Miller, Tewati, and Rashid. They're in like extreme form with their bat, but it was tremendous bowling, and Mumbai just picked it out of nowhere and they won. It was nice to see all those scenes with the entire Mumbai camp celebrating with such a close win.
Correct. I mean, I just want to add that it was a very strange kind of innings. Like after the start that they got, you felt that they're going to canter home, with the wickets in
Mm,
hand and everything. But then the dismissals, like maybe Shubman Gill, all right, Saha trying to go for a sweep, the ball bounced a little bit. But after that, it was a little bit of harakiri, I would say. Pandya running himself out. Then
mm.
Sai Sudarshan, when do you see something like that? He's got deceived by the ball and then he's gone on to hit the wicket with his bat. So this it was quite a strange innings, I would say, especially the second half of the Gujarat Titans, where they
Mm.
managed to score only 70 or 75 runs. So yeah, I guess it was meant to be Mumbai yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go to the final man of the match segment, so Gautam, here's the final question to you. Now, this was asked on TV, so I'm asking it to you again. We saw Bumrah and Rashid both are going wicketless in many games. So, which one is like more surprising or painful to watch for you?
I feel that Rashid is more surprising because if you see from a cricketing perspective, right, like the Mumbai doesn't have its like traditional bowling attack, like wherein there used to be Rahul Chahar and Trent Bolt. So that time Bumrah used to be lethal because you can't target Trent, like every over of Trent Bolt, every over of Rahul Chahar, you can't target. So now what other teams are doing is they're like playing out Bumrah and they're targeting other bowlers, weaker bowlers, Sunat and the other people who are there. So that is still fine because he's maintaining a still good economy rate because might be yesterday he might have got hammered a little, but otherwise he's been a good bowler. But Rashid, on the other hand, he has got all like good bowlers within his team, like Shami and even Joseph was good, and even Lockie Ferguson was good. But even if you see the left-handers, right? For example, Abhishek Sharma, he took him to the cleaners, and like many left-handers have hit Rashid Khan in the recent past, actually. So does that mean that Rashid they have learned to pick up the variations of Rashid, or we'll see because he's a quality bowler and he might light up the second half of the tournament or the later half when probably I think they're almost qualified for the knockouts. He might produce a big game there.
All right. So now let's move on to the man of the match segment. Now, Shash, yesterday I introduced a new concept where when I don't agree with the man of the match, I ask you the question. So yesterday, see, there was Murugan Ashwin who actually pulled back the game a bit from Gujarat. when they were like cruising towards the victory. And even in the last over, I think Daniel Sams, it was Gujarat's game, but Daniel Sams like literally pulled it back from their hand. And it was Tim David who got the man of the match for his 43. Do you agree? What is it?
Well, I would say it's not such a bad decision considering the slump that Mumbai got themselves in the middle overs. Like scoring what 5 or 6 runs in 3 overs, that is just not acceptable, in T20s. So I think Daniel Sams was the guy who actually got them the score, which, sorry, not Daniel Sams, who was Tim David,
Tim David.
got them the score. Yeah, so that the bowlers could have something to defend to. So I feel that's a reasonably good decision this time around.
All right. And among all the viewers who commented, there was only one guy who picked Tim
One.
David. Yeah. So there's only one winner. Obviously, we don't have chits. And the winner is Uday Prabhu. So
Congrats.
congratulations. Yeah. You already won
Congrats.
twice. So we send you the
Well
voucher.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was about yesterday's game. So much to talk about because it was a thriller. So let's move on to today's. We have a Super Saturday with two games today. So let's start with the first one. It's between Rajasthan and Punjab. So Gautam, talking about the Punjab side, ever since the beginning, they're like struggling to get their best four overseas. Like first it was Smith, and now it's Bairstow. And I guess except for Howell, almost all the foreigners have played for Punjab. So what, in your opinion, would be the best four for Punjab?
So yeah, they do have a strong team, and the overseas are strong, but for some reason they're not able to sort out the right 11 or the right overseas four. See, Rabada has to play, irrespective of whom they play. Rabada has to play, and even Livingstone has to play because he's a gun batsman, gun fielder, part-time bowler. Both gives you 2 overs max. And the other slot, other two slots actually. One, I think they paid big money for Odium Smith for 5 crores, but except I think couple of matches with the bat he didn't perform, and with ball I think he has not performed except with 1 over somewhere he has defended, that's all. So Rajapaksha I think is a good choice because he was in tremendous form for the first 3-4 matches, and I think he was their best overseas batsman. But once Beristo came, they dropped Rajapaksha even though he was in tremendous form. I think that was a big mistake. Then Beristo has not performed like how he used to perform for Hyderabad or England. And also, if you see that like even their last match, I think last couple of matches or last match, I think they bought Rajapaksha in, but he could not score that impact innings how he used to score like before. So
No, he's
yeah,
actually played, I think, against who was that? Last game they played, Gujarat.
Yeah,
He
around
got a
Gujarat,
40.
I
40
guess
odd of,
40 he played, right?
yeah, of
Yes.
28 balls. Yeah.
28. Yeah, I think the match before that, I think he didn't perform right after he was come back, like made a comeback to the team. But the reason why they pick Beristo is because they want a technical batsman in. Like if you remove Shikhar Dhawan from that list, almost everybody is like a hitter of the ball. So if wicket goes, they need somebody to stabilize. So I think they'll stick with the same four: Beristo, Rabada, Livingstone, and Rajapaksha, and they'll see how that it goes. But today, I think they might be up for a challenge today against Rajasthan. We'll see how their batting pans out.
All right. So now, Shash, Rajasthan have lost 3 out of 4 games in which they have batted first. Now,
Yeah.
teams have to be prepared for both batting first and second. So, if they get to bat first, how should they approach it today?
Well, just like how they can, rather, I mean, probably, stop the over dependency on Butler is what I would like to say, because he's got 3 centuries and I think he's won them a few games himself. Now the other batsmen need to step up. Sanju, it's been a perennial problem with him, of being inconsistent. He plays one good knock and then for the next 3-4 games he's hardly making any contribution. So that is one of the reasons why he's not even there in the Indian team, is what I would say, considering the talent that he has. Devdutt Padikkal again has not done justice to his potential. So I feel it is time for these people. Hetmeyer on the other hand has been doing quite well. Apart from Butler and Hetmeyer, I feel the batting has been a letdown. So that is what is to be seen, because I think Ashwin comes at number 7, right? So they don't have many batsmen after that. So in terms of depth, they lack a little bit, but even then they have enough firepower to post a good total or chase any score.
Okay. Ashwin comes at number 7, sometimes at 3. So, it's up to the
3.
analyst. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have our own analyst here in the house, and I'm sure he'll have some interesting matchups. So, Gautam, please share what you got for this game.
Yeah, so if you see the Punjab batsmen, right, for the RR bowlers, so there is Shikhar Dhawan who has struggled against Ashwin and Chahal. So both Ashwin and Chahal have got him out like three times in their history. And if, for example, their then opening batsman, that is going to be Bairstow. It won't be Agarwal because Agarwal will be batting at 4 or three, depending on match situation. So Bairstow has got an interesting matchup against Trent Bolt. So wherein he has picked up the wicket of him once in T20Is, once in ODIs. So Trent Bolt with his fast in swinging Yorkers might trap him for an LBW, and he looks like an ideal LBW candidate. And also Bairstow struggles against Chahal. So and also Agarwal, if you see, he has got a very interesting matchup against Ashwin and Chahal. He has been dismissed like around 5 times, both of them. So, like in total, to sum it up, then both Ashwin and Chahal will have a looks like to be having a great game today against the matchups what they have, especially against the Punjab top order, and also which they have not been good form. So, based on those matchup, it looks like that Rajasthan looks like to have a slight upper hand on that. And coming to the coming to Butler of Rajasthan, he doesn't have any like weakness as of such against the Punjab bowling except of Rahul Chahar, wherein he has lost a wicket one time, but it's not something to be alarmed against. And also Sanju Samson, it's no secret that he struggles against that spin, that leg spin, or that traditional spinner which gets the ball moving from right side to the left side of the ball. So he'll sky up most of the wickets, like most of his wickets. So in total, to see that there's no real matchups for Rajasthan, but on the other hand, Punjab will have a handful against both Ashwin, Chahal, and Bolt.
All right. So, Gautam is clearly backing Rajasthan. What about you, Shash? Who do you think will win?
It's tough. I mean, because the teams in this edition are so evenly balanced, if you got to go by current form, you might say Rajasthan has a slight upper hand, but then Punjab has those impact players. So any one of them on the given day can change the course of the game. So I honestly don't have an answer for this.
All right. So that's it from the first game. Now we have another match today. So Lucknow and Kolkata. Another game where both of them will be fighting for 2 points, and it will be important for them to win. One to make it in top two, and another to make it in top four. So Shash, I know two ex-captains are leading a franchise for the first time, and I'm sure KL Rahul as a captain has impressed you all. But what about Iyer?
I mean, Iyer has been a captain before, as you've seen, like with Delhi. I think he's done reasonably quite well. He's got them to the playoffs. They've been to the finals under his captaincy as well. So yeah, he seems like a probable India candidate. In the future, because that's what he seems like a very calm guy. Sort of knows what he's doing. I'm sure he's made certain mistakes, or like let's say maybe not mistakes. He's backed a few players who have not come off, like maybe Venkatesh Iyer or Pat Cummins. It can happen to any cricketer. So yeah, but saying that, I feel he also takes quite a bit of responsibility in his batting. Takes a responsibility as a captain, and then probably gives the other people to gives them the license. And I think it was a good move to probably get someone like Rinku Singh, or give him the opportunity to go and bat on top. And I think he did really well in the last game, finishing off the match along with Nitesh Rana. So yeah, these are some of the things I would say. Someone like a Varun Chakravarti is also not delivered as per the expectations. So yeah, I mean, with whatever resources he's had, I think he's done a decent job.
All right. He's one of those captains who's actually performing even though he's a captain, like we don't see with other teams. And yeah, he's taken some bold calls as well, dropping Venkatesh Iyer and Pat Cummins. So
I mean, that's how it should be. It should always be for the team, irrespective of what the status of the player is or how much you've paid. If it is not, working out, like let's say it's hampering the combination and you're not winning games, then so be it. You have to always think about the team and give chances to other players whom you feel can make a difference.
All right. I know which player you're talking about, the 15 crore player playing tomorrow. So let's quickly move on to the next question. Gautam,
Well,
who
I
do you
thought I'll
think will
keep
win?
that for tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll discuss it again tomorrow. So back to Gautam. Gautam, who do you think will win tonight?
Yeah, looking at how everything looks, and Kolkata are not in a great shape. Lucknow are performing good, especially KL, Quinton, their Deepak Huda, Krunal Pandya. They've all stepped up to the plate.
Mohsin
So
Khan.
Mohsin Khan, excellent bowler. So good find. So even under to say Gautam Gambhir's leadership. So looks like Lucknow is going to win. But Kolkata, they have individual match winners, but it's going to be a very difficult task against the strong Lucknow Super Giants.
All right. So we got inputs from both, and they have both predicted who's gonna win. So with that, we move on to the man of the match contest. So the winner has been already declared somewhere in the middle of the video. And to all our viewers, we do have a contest today, and we have two contests because we have two games, and you have a chance to win two vouchers. So for both the games, the rules are simple. You just have to predict the man of the match, and your time till the second innings of both the matches start. So thank you, Gautam, for being here. And with that, we end our video. See you tomorrow, guys. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.